UKLC is presented by Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UKLC, brought to you by Curry's PC World Gaming. Hello, I'm back. We got rid of Viper and I'm here with Jamada as we're getting ready to go into day 3 of our second Super Week in a row. Jamada, how are you doing? You all right?
I'm doing pretty good. We've had some very interesting games in your absence, Jake. I'll put it that way. I don't think we've actually had a close game over the last 2 days. If a team takes a lead, they seem to just win, and that's actually just been the theme of the past 2 days.
Well, let's zoom back over the last couple of days and look at yesterday's games in particular. Resolve versus Barrage. Resolve won again.
Yeah, no real surprises. Business as usual. I was actually very impressed with what Barrage came out with in the draft. I felt like if this was a different team they were up against, they very easily could have beaten them, but Resolve, just too strong of a team, really. Very unfortunate for them they weren't able to do the Twisted Fate. Demise versus London here. Honestly, Demise, again, with sort of a not out there pick in the Aurelia, but a pick where they have to put resources into. And much like on Saturday when they had the Darius pick on Rifty, they just didn't give them the resources. In this fight, the game was practically already over. But you can see, Demise almost won out on this one. But they went back, they flipped the Baron, they lost off the back of that. And this was, and me and Will were talking about yesterday, we don't even know if we can call MNM losing to a team like Enclave an upset anymore.
No, I mean, like MNM, they've been on a downward trend. There was a discussion before the show where we're all saying that, you know, we thought MNM were at least a top 3 team, and now they're tied with a bunch of the other teams in that kind of middle spot. And the middle goes from anywhere from like 3rd to the bottom. Like it is really, really close for 4 teams at the moment who are all tied. And, you know, one of these teams that they are tied with is Barrage. And, you know, they got a win yesterday over Envision. Did they? No, I can't remember.
That's Bulldog versus Envision right there. Envision actually beat on Bulldog, and all of the teams, fun fact, that started with 5 wins yesterday still have 5 wins today. So it made the middle of the pack even tighter. Envision now up to 4. London were the only team, I believe, that extended their lead over the middle of the pack. So they're kind of looking to solidify themselves as the 2nd place team now.
Well, I'm a moron. Let's look at the standings and see where we are right now in the UKLC. As we're starting it off, Resolve are 11-0. Just behind them is going to be London 7-4. And then there is that big mesh from teams from 3rd to 6th. Barrage, Enclave, MNM, and Bulldog all tied 5 and 6 in the standings. Envision 1 win away from catching up to the rest of the pack. And it's Demise sitting at the bottom. And Demise are the team that we are most concerned about right now, because 1 loss, and that's it. They're in relegations. They have to win every single game to remain out of relegations. And I still believe that even if they win, they've got 3 games left, that would put them to 5. As long as this is still out of their hands, even if they win, any of these other teams could also just find 1 win, and that's it. So they've got to win every game and hope all of the teams, at least one of the teams above them, doesn't drop a single, drops a single game. It doesn't win a single game. Sorry. It is very, very close. Let's have a little look at the schedule as well and see where we are right now. What we got coming up today, actually, in our action here at the UKLC. There you go. So we're starting with MNM versus London, then Resolve versus Envision, Enclave versus Bulldog, and we're rounding the day out with Barrage versus Demise.
Yeah, and for Envision, they finally broke their 6-loss streak just to be thrown in to the tax collectors that seem to be Resolve right now. Hopefully for them, they can at least put up a fight. Hey, Resolve have secured 1st place, so maybe they let up. But I feel like they seem like a bit of a prideful team. I feel like they are going to be going for that 14-0 record. So, you know, good luck, Envision. See how things pan out for them.
It feels a little sad for Envision. It's like, okay, you just got over your fear of swimming in a kiddie pool. Now we're going to throw you in the middle of the Atlantic. Like, it's going to be very, very rough for them.
Just circling them. Well, it's not great for them. And then, of course, our opening game of the day. Pretty big tell for how likely London are even going to finish 2nd if they pick up this win, because I think realistically that would be the case in most worlds, with quite a few of the head-to-heads being relatively positive.
Yeah.
If MNM lose, then they're really in the mix-up.
MNM are in a really, really bad position, and I want to talk a little bit about that because we can whip up the predictions and see where Captain MNM voted today. Oh, hello!
Oh,
it's a surprise.
Wow!
Jamada voted MNM. Everyone else we're in agreement. I'm not even gonna. I don't even know if I should ask.
No.
Why?
So, firstly, loyalty. Secondly, I actually feel like London have the far better chance of winning today. London in recency, I think in their last 5 or 6 games, they've only dropped 1 game, and guess which team that was to? Surprise Resolve. So London, more or less, they're really on form. MNM, I don't think we really have to go into much depth. They are struggling hard.
Mate, I literally just asked you why MNM would win, and you went, London are amazing. They're gonna win this.
Exactly. No, look, the prediction may say MNM, but I still have a brain. I still think logically, I promise. As much as I would love to see my former team, pick up the win and try and pick up their earlier season form, it might be a little bit out of reach into a team like London, who, again, I have still said, next to Resolve, probably played the cleanest League of Legends throughout the split. They tend to be one of the few teams that actually executes on an early game plan. Whenever they have champions that actually require it, things like Twisted Fate, I feel like they're the only team that have successfully played the Twisted Fate in this league, which is a pretty big execution ask to, throw out there, because, the only other team I think have pulled out the Twisted Fate is Barrage Academy, and I can't recall whether they actually had much success with it. Yesterday into Resolve, they did it.
Well, the Barrage game at the end of the day is actually going to be a really important one. Barrage, obviously 5 and 6, they're in that big kind of fishnet of people caught up right now in the middle of the standings, but also for Demise it's an important win because, like I said, 1 loss, relegated. Not relegated. Oh no, relegated. They go through the relegation tournament at the least. So you have to continue your fight, and for a team that's only been able to find 2 wins, it has been a rough start. To be honest, I'm going to be completely honest with you, I haven't actually followed the UKL too much this season, so I'm not sure what any of the teams are looking like. So someone's going to have to inform me on that one. And honestly, the best way to inform me is to use that hashtag UKLC and get yourselves in touch with us. We actually are going to start to try and show some of those tweets on the stream. So make sure you use that hashtag because it's really hard to find you otherwise. We've got an army of 1 million people scouring Twitter looking for it. But if you use the hashtag, it's easier. No, seriously, we don't. We use the hashtag.
Use the hashtag. That's the thing. But yeah, on the topic of the UKL teams, funnily enough, pretty big disparity, because whilst the Mize are at the very bottom of the table, their academy team in the UKL is at the very top, which kind of brings up the situation where the Demise Academy team, I don't believe, can participate in the relegation series if Demise end up in relegations, which is the most likely scenario at the moment, because I think one of their remaining games is still Resolve Demise. So
wait, are we gonna have a Barrage versus Barrage?
No, we've patched
the joke Barrage team beat the real Barrage team.
Jake, we patched it out. It's no longer here anymore. No more retirement home teams coming up to beat their main team.
Okay, thank God for that. Speaking of other games that are exciting today and important, Enclave versus Bulldog. 2 teams tied. You said all of these teams who started yesterday on 5 wins weren't able to find a single win. And this isn't even the game, but this is the next game coming up, London versus MNM. But before we get onto that game, we will talk a little bit. I just want to say that, Bulldog versus Enclave, very, very important game for both of these teams. Yeah, and Bulldog is sort of in this limbo world where they're not finding that same level of consistency. Yes, they picked up a few more wins after their earlier win streak and then into a loss streak, but something still seems a little bit off in comparison to those first 3 to 4 games that we actually saw out of Bulldog. So going into Enclave, who might finally be hitting some kind of stride, we could be in for it's going to be a very hotly contested game, I feel. Enclave have spent most of the split at the bottom, sort of hovering right above that relegation zone, and now, because of the way standings have fallen, they have a realistic chance of actually making playoffs. Yeah, there's honestly 4 teams who are still in the running here quite heavily for that. So today and the last 2 days of the regular split are going to be important, and I'm glad, because this is what I said at the beginning of the split all those weeks ago, 5 weeks ago now. I said I wanted to see, a tight schedule, a tight formation in the league like we had last season. Now, Resolve are kind of ruining that by kind of smurfing it really hard. But, you know, everyone else is pretty close up. And speaking of teams that are fighting for a spot at playoffs, coming up after the break is going to be MNM Academy versus London's. We'll see you in a second.
Let the sparks fly into a summer night. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Running to the future blind. Tell me all your dreams and put them on your sleeve. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Let the sparks fly into a summer night. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Shot eyes, another ocean opens wide. Our love is sick but still alive. Then all our hearts would radiate and melt the sadness we create. Only then could we survive. Let's turn singing, this love is all around us. This love is all around us. Staring idly at the sky. Love is almost past us by, still we watch it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC. Getting ready to go into our first game of the day, MNM versus London. Hopefully someone will wake me up and probably hopefully someone to make Jamada up. He probably only got up about an hour ago. Talk to me, Jamada. What do you make of these?
Been back like 2 hours, Jake. We're already at it. But all right, yeah. So
I've been back longer than you've been awake.
Okay, so we're very familiar with both these rosters. We know what everyone's realistically capable of. Even Mapillion finally in the sort of latter weeks of the regular season has finally started to pull his weight. He's no longer a detriment to the team, which is what we were seeing a lot from his frontline play. He is pulling his own weight as well. And with that in mind, London are pretty much a full functioning machine now. So I look towards MNM and I say, where can we find the refinements? Where can we stop some of the oversteps we've been seeing? Because honestly, MNM have been performing poorly, but you could realistically look at a lot of their losses and say they've been losing to themselves.
Sorry, I was reading the chat. We have a chat. Obviously, we have the lobby open. And PFI's gone to the loo, and our admin just responded, "Poo focus improve." And like a 12-year-old, that really tickled me. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but thought I'd bring that attention to everyone. Good job, Alex. You're actually a funny person.
Yeah, everyone.
Oh, getting ready to go into this game, and I'll stop being a child for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I think
I'm sorry, mate.
it's okay.
Trying to make a smart point, and I'm ruining it.
Sometimes you get those kind of you get those throws. Oh, hey, look, he's apparently back from the toilet because they're into big and bad. Yeah, so yeah, you know, we've seen a lot of creativity in terms of not necessarily sticking to the meta picks from the solo laners of MNM. We'll see if they want to, you know, sort of return closer to meta. I've definitely had some critiques of a lot of their drafts. Whilst yes, I do enjoy watching them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're objectively very good.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what they decide to pull out here today, because London, they are probably the toughest opponent that they're going to have in the remainder of the 3 games they have left to play.
And at the moment, the junglers are having a really fun time as everything is being stripped away from them.
Yeah.
The Gragas, technically flexible as well, mainly top lane at the moment though.
But,
4 jungle bans banned away here.
4 jungle bans, but this can technically be counted as 5 for PFI because he's played, I want to say, 5 out of his last 6 games on this Gragas. So.
Oh, you're right. He has been playing that. Okay, so 5 out of the 6 bans are jungle, unless PFI has been secretly doing Seraphine jungle. The Hecarim being left open. The Graves has also been left open, as well as the Talia. So there's actually a fair few junglers left open, even with all of these jungle bans. Yeah,
Talia, Lilia also still a thing. I feel like that would maybe be the most favorable matchup into this Hecarim. So we could just see then Voxnay also snatch up his Kai'Sa plus that Lilia. It could be a very strong rotation. We're seeing the Kai'Sa be hovered now. It's just going to get locked in most likely. This is then Voxnay's favorite champion on stage at the moment. And then I think there's no harm in just locking in your jungler if you're PFI here. Really is up to him on what he would like to take.
They could also just lock in something like the Rel here if they'd like.
Oh yeah, the Rel would be a very strong rotation too.
Lily's not going to get denied, so you could just pick yourself a really solid bot lane like an Alistar, a Rel. Slam that in.
The only issue with that is, we're going to see Kindred be locked in. The only issue with that is that you have the Aphelios and the Thresh both up. 2 champions. Harry loves the Aphelios. We saw him play it almost most of his games last split. And then Regan, Thresh is probably his most played champion. Just kind of period. So PFI coming out with the Kindred, it's definitely very interesting. It can bully out the Hecarim in the earlier stages, but once that Hecarim sort of hits the level 5-ish mark, keeps on power farming beyond that point, Kindred doesn't really have much say in, you know, sort of slowing him down. She can only really drop the Lamb's Spy in some of those later team fights.
Yeah.
Thresh being locked in for Regan, curious to see whether they just go with the Aphelios rotation as well at the same time here.
I feel like that's probably the smartest move here. And I mean, I'm just getting this really speaks like lengths about how stupidly strong jungle is at the moment, where we had 5 of the 6 bans being jungle, and it's like, yeah, still Lilia, still Hecarim, still Kindred, there's loads of things open. Not gonna actually go for that Aphelios here, gonna lock in the Seraphine for Tyrex, give him a comfortable pick here in the mid lane, and that may force Beely to pick a mid laner himself, something like the Victor, the Orianna, if he wants to pick something just comfortable into the lane. But no, they're going to go for the Nautilus. And this now just means that London can look to ban away the likes of that Aphelios, any AD carries that they don't really want to deal with right now.
Yeah, I would imagine we just see something like the Aphelios plus just another lane bully AD carry. Perhaps something like the Xayah would be very good at sort of just denying away Harry's comfort, realistically. I wouldn't be surprised to see those be the 2 bans for London. Very curious that MNM honestly opt for the Syndra pick up here when you can see the AD carry. Unless Tyrex is worried about his champion pool being pinched down, but if you're playing things like the Fizz and Irelia, and you can play mages, I'm pretty sure your champion pool is fine. So it's a very curious time to lock in the Syndra. Yes, it does lock in a very, you know, powerful level 6 mid jungle, but it just strikes me as strange because now you're going to give over mid counter pick when you're playing versus a Kindred and you've got a Hecarim jungle. it's just a bit of a head scratcher for me. We'll have to see. Felios Zaya bans, I think, was just kind of telegraphed. For MNM now, their final ban, you could look at something like they're next.
Gotta smurf that, mate. Honestly, some good predictions. All right, what do you think London will look to pick up here? Assuming a mid laner. I mean, Victor, Orianna are open.
You could just go. You just go for the Orianna or the Victor. I would probably lean more into the Orianna, though. You could have some trouble into the Hecarim dives later on. I think having that much spacing and utility available to your team could be good. You could also go down the Twisted Fate route, which is something that Beely's done a fair few times, even in Syndra. He might be comfortable to pilot it. As we're actually gonna just see most. That's gonna be okay. No. Okay, last second swap up Orianna. I think it's fine. Like we said, the spacing and the ultimate when you're talking about having the Lambs spy down, I think it just holds a lot of value.
Yeah. Now
I'm curious to see what Harry's gonna block in, because those are probably the two best AD carry options up for him.
Well, there's still things like the Misfortune, if you want to take that. Obviously, nice and quick. Got the Lantern as well to keep you safe. So, could be the pickup. Could go back to an old classic in the Caitlyn, but no, it's going to be the Jhin lock-in for Harry. Now they'll be looking for their top laner. Merp did hover that volley bear, and it looked like they were legitimately thinking about it. It was a quick swap back to the Orianna, so could look for a denial there, or could just look for something that can neutralize the lane. May just look for something that will offer good engage for this team, and some scaling options in the ornaments.
Okay, so honestly, I feel like I was gonna call for DBL's Gangplank here. I feel like Merp doesn't really have the champions to deal with that pick. And last split, when he was on Monster Rugby Gaming, he played it quite a few times. And honestly, he was probably the best GP player in the league at the time. So
yeah,
when you're talking about having what is most likely a strong side bot when you've got that Jhin and the Thresh, you could just happily lock in the Gangplank. You've got that global to support the bottom side, and Merp shouldn't have anything to punish it with. But instead, we go down the Ornn route. It's obviously going to give them the scaling, the engage, a little more standard. And Merp, we saw the volley bear pick almost get locked in, so kind of gave it away that he was likely to lock in, and he has.
Yeah, final rotation will be that volley bear for Merpillion. And what do you make in these comps? What are we kind of looking at as far as the win conditions go? Let's start with MNM. What MNM's game plan? What is MNM's game plan right now?
I feel like they're going to be looking to get Kazira to level 6 as fast as possible. They've got lane priority in definitely bottom and mid. Top side, Volibear typically just has lane priority into most of his matchups. Just the passive has so much pushing power. You can normally even crash the second wave in. That's how much priority he typically has. So I think for MNM, you're looking to just sort of hit that level 6 mark for Kazira. Also have Tyrex on timer as well for that level 6. And then you just start looking around the map for hit.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, everything's locked in. We're getting ready and geared up to go in to our first game of the day. MNM, this is an important game for them. While they're not really looking at relegations unless the Mice go on a win spree and they continue their lose spree, MNM still are in a position where realistically they need to start finding some wins, because promotions, promotions, I've forgotten the word for it already. Playoffs, there we go. Playoffs are, they're looming, and there's a lot of teams that are currently still fighting for these positions. And honestly, a win here over London means the rest of their schedule is a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable, and then playoffs are still an achievable goal. Remember, this is a team who we put in top 3 at the beginning of the split. I really thought it was going to be Resolve, London, MNM. I thought they were going to be the top 3 teams, and right now MNM, they're technically in top 3, but they're also in 6th as well at the same time. It's a very wide area they're covering right now with their points in the scoreboard. So it's on to them to find this win.
Yeah, and honestly, in a lot of these MNM losses in the most recent history, they are kind of just losing to themselves a little bit. No, credit being taken away from the teams that have taken MNM down, but MNM's style of aggression has definitely been buying them in the backside a lot. But we'll have to see. London, definitely one of the stronger early game teams. If MNM, like we've kind of seen over the last 2 days, it feels like the trend is whichever team gets ahead seems to just manage to close out. Whoever falls behind doesn't really seem to come back into the game recently. So whilst I normally say come third dragon is normally a big teller, honestly, the first 10, 12 minutes might be enough to give us a relatively good indicator of how the rest of the game will go.
Alrighty, well, here we are on the Rift for our first game of the day. PFI whipping out an old special there in the Kindred. Been a little while since we've seen that one from him. Let's see how this goes. I want to check actually the old crab RNG. See if
that's gonna be fun.
See if I can get any cheeky early stacks. And yes, I was there for that one where it just wherever the kindred went, the mark spawned pretty much. It was honestly disgusting stuff. But a great late invade here by London, not getting spotted out on any vision.
Oh, this is also just poor coverage from MNM. A team walks in with sweeper, they don't find a ward, and there's no ward to even spot them out. Pretty disappointing, and I imagine MNM have no idea this is happening. So.
Yeah, and look at how they move up as far into the river as possible to make it come as if they've done the blue buff. So at this point, MNM don't assume anything. They just saw Jeppe come with a little bit of lost health and go, okay, they leave blue side. And Regan can take a little bit of damage, doesn't get the void stack off as Harry will get the 4th shot, and London will lose this trade to MNM bot side as far as the health bars go, but still, the map state is not in a good way right now. Kazero gonna lose his chickens and his red buff as he's doing a full bot side, full top side clear. Another hook comes in from Jeppe. Regan looks for the hook and then actually has to dug back, but a lot of damage is coming in and now Harry's getting locked down. They do get the flay back off onto Jeppe, and Jeppe's gonna take a lot of damage. Both the ignites in the bot side were used and the heal from Harry.
Yeah. I was very close to being positive for Eminem, but all in all, the Summoner trade spell is definitely positive for London. Heal and Ignite being used by MNMA, only the Ignite being used by Hepe. And Kazuro has found his jungle camp Soul Ruin, so PFI is going to have the eventual surplus of jungle camps, but Kazuro may be lucky enough to actually get this bottom side skull, depending on how PFI feels.
Well, I think London's bot lane are pulling away, so I think this crab is probably lost no matter what, as they don't really have the priority here. Luckily for PFI, the mark is actually spawning up on the top side, but he is actually looking to contest this here. Tyrex is also making his way over. PFI is going to have to be one hell of a steal. He's able to take it away. Oh, Kazero, that is some sad timing.
Oh,
Jeppe, that was a little over eager, mate. You're going to have to dodge away. The problem here, though, is Kazero has smite and PFI doesn't. So he may just lose his mark. I don't know if that was worth it if you're PFI.
Yeah, it's a bit double-edged. I mean, London have priority in mid and top now, so Kazuro...
Beanie doesn't really have the mana.
No, he's got enough mana for at least one combo, and yeah, I mean, this is just going to be PFI securing double skull.
Oh, no.
That's a tragedy.
Say it with me, kids. Diffie in the jiffy.
Yeah. Well, this is like Diffie in the jiffy because of the matchup and the fact that Eminem just decided to not give any cover. Red buff.
No, flame the jungler, always.
Me laner, me flame jungle.
Jungle bad.
Jungle always bad.
Me die 4 times, jungle fault.
Yeah, Regan's actually opening up onto the top side. He's pathing all the way up here to this lane. Kazuru's lane ganking.
The ghost is on DPL's going low, but finds first blood. Even with 3 members about, he will lose his life, however. Kazero able to find himself some kills, some gold back for himself. As Beely gets chunked out by Tyrex and the minion wave, so Beely kind of losing a lot of health from that TP back into lane. And PFI continues just the farm spree, which is going on right now.
Yeah, PFI should eventually start to sort of slingshot quite far ahead. Just because of the way that the early pathing came out and the fact he got double skull. And also just because of the 3-man commitment to the top side, it looks like London should just get this dragon pretty much for free. And Harry potentially could sort of sit back and be a little bit worried about the fact that there's so many members in fog for London, but looks like he's just going to try and shove out the wave. And relatively clean pickup here. Nice response to that top gank from London's jungler here. Got that early
smart play from them.
Yeah. And the wave is in such a poor position that you can see Harry and Regan feel pretty pressured to stay quite far back here. Not really willing to try and crash this wave in just on the off chance that PFI is here. You can see Regan finally going to do a little bit of scouting.
A big part of why the lane state is in this way is because, remember, MNM committed 3 members topside. Regan roamed all the way up there, and Mapillion still got first blood. So even after the kill, they got the first blood gold as well. They got the dragon. They got double scuttles. Mert, you know, he's fine right now, even though he went down. Kazero sure did get a kill on that was actually pretty big, getting that 300 gold onto the Hecarim, who has been denied a fair few camps. Well, 2 camps so far and a crab, so does somewhat to alleviate the gold. I'd actually love to have a quick look at the individual golds right now and see where we are. So mid's just down a little bit. Jungle actually up Kazira off the back of that kill.
Yeah. 400 gold. That's a lot of gold. If he didn't pick up that kill or if he got an assist, he'd definitely be down around 200, 250 gold, give or take. So first blood definitely helping to alleviate that gold. Well, I was about to say what would have been a gold deficit, but he's obviously in the lead. And on the bottom side, then Voxney, 200 gold up, but Harry's catching a wave right now, so...
I mean, you also have to keep in mind is PFI did lose a bit of his jungle farming pace because of the fact that he went and did the dragon with the team.
Yeah.
So part of that gold isn't reflected quite in the fact that he wasn't just constantly clearing. Is going to steal away yet another blue buff as Beely. He's just clearing the wave, don't worry.
Yeah, clearing the caster groups. Nothing to see there as PFI steals away Kazura's second spawn red buff. I guess at this point we just call it PFI's second red buff.
So DBL is making something happen towards the top side. Does have the Call of the Forge God, but Merp ulti and a wave pushing into his tower. He's not going to overstay or overstep. And PFI just continues the farming spree here.
Yeah. And I mean,
I don't think he's done his Krog shit, by the way.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. To know. Obviously, Krog's the camp that definitely gives. Well, actually, I always forget. I feel like it's 30 gold more than Grom, but I could be wrong.
It's also that the first spawn don't give as much experience, do they?
There is also that, yeah. So Kazura has been farming his Krog pretty much on cycle on repeat, so it's why he's at least still sort of equal in CS, plus of course the kill and the wave he soaked up on the top side. But London gonna be just taking Herald here. It's MNM with sort of slower resets to... I imagine they wanted to contest the Herald, but honestly just a little too slow, and even Hepe is now here whilst then Voxney walks to the bottom side unattended.
Yeah.
London.
Almost a wasted swap here, but actually they might find something into the mid. Beely flashes away, looks for the shockwave, not going to be able to find it. Lamb's respite will keep Beely alive as the teleport comes in. The curtain has been called. Beely's taking shot after shot, trying to dodge, trying to dive as Regan secures the kill. And now PFI, he's the one on the run because Zero will knock him back, will bop him back, and the scatter the weak will lock him down. MNM find 2.
Yeah, very nice. It's out there from Kazura, actually using the control ward. Very cute. To give himself the vision to leap over the wall with his devastating charge. Merp is... Alright, well, this is bullying.
Merp may have to try and get the ulti off in time. No. Not even going to get it. It's too much CC. DBL loses his life. A massive fumble there by him. And DBL, twice dying now when he's got the numbers advantages, and ultimately... Sure, they're going to get some plates in the top side, but there's too many members about, so there's too much resistance is building up. Meanwhile, Voxney, massive CS lead, getting plates all to himself. So much solo gold for Voxney. So we have a look at that fight once again.
Yeah, so Kazura dropping the pink ward over the wall. He had his devastating charge actually stacked up, so he had the additional range to make it over the wall with that enhanced wall attack. It's a nice flash forward from Regan to keep Beely in place, whilst unfortunately the Ignite actually takes the kill credit. Kazura eventually manages to run down PFI with another E. Tunneled back in for another stun from Tyrex, and this time Tyrex is the one picking up that kill credit. And curious to see how DBL actually is. He was tanking too.
He hit at the storm, the Sky Splitter. That's what slowed him.
And not only that, he was also tanking 2 war attacks from the tower before MNM were even committed onto Merpillion there. And honestly, I don't know how worth that is. If we could just get a gold flick again, because I feel like then Voxney won out pretty big in comparison to his counterpart.
It's got a little bit of a lead. The assist gold is doing something here, but also, while we were in that replay, Rift Herald was used mid, and now that turret only has 2 plates left. Yep. Dragon is spawning up. Then Voxney took 3 plates bot lane as well, so as far as the plate trade has gone, massively in favour to London right now. They are so far up, and spotted out by the Orianna ball inside the bush is Void Seeker's going to hit onto the back, and London may just give up this Infernal Drake and take first Tower Blood mid if they want.
Yeah, if I'm London, I'm taking this trade. Okay, well, MNM want the Dragon a lot. That's for sure, as they're quite literally going to sacrifice their mid-tier 1. Not even 11 minutes into the game. I'm not entirely sure whether I agree with that call right there. Perhaps MNM look for a fight.
Oh,
okay.
Jeppe missed the hook. That was so bad. PFI has to keep himself alive. The shockwave hits no one. And the snipe comes in onto the backline. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but Murph is low. Jeppe misses yet another hook. And on the bottom line, Denvoxney slides in onto the backline, secures himself yet another kill. Now Beely is the one on the run. Jeppe, you got to land these hooks, man.
Yeah, that was a very, we'll call it unfortunate. Hooking the wall right in front of him. You know, the Nautilus hook is quite wide. Let's put it that way. As yeah, MNM, I mean, I don't know if I agree with the trade. The fight afterwards, I can understand, but I don't know if you can really take on the London side when they had the Lamb's Respite, but I believe PFI died without even being able to cast it. So
I don't think you got a chance to even use it. And like, I think if this hook landed, massively different fight.
Massively different fight. As PFI, let's just see. Yeah,
CC'd
clipped
pretty much the whole time.
CC'd for most of it. If he was spamming that Arky, he definitely could have cast it, but just caught unawares by the curtain call. Then Voxney slides over the wall, the back end of the fight to pick up DBL. Then Voxney almost taking down this tower practically by himself.
Yeah, he got first turret blood with his team and all the plates in the mid lane. Got a lot of plates here in this bot side, and honestly, this tower should go down in the next siege if he wants to. May not even actually get it with plates because he is going for the reset. Did get a kill, has a bunch of gold to spend after all the plates he's taken. So expect to see most of this Gale Force finished up here. 1,700 gold, so have a Moon Quiver, have a
He's got it.
pickaxe probably on this, and then should be an evolved Q almost ready for him.
Oh, I think he should have the Evo Q. Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah.
It's a very
The reason there's not a Gale Force on him is because of the serrated.
Yes, correct.
And he's got tier 2 boots. So Harry, sure, got his mythic, but tier 1 boots as well. Hasn't got, you know, the Q evolve like an Voxney has, which is a lot more the extra damage for him, a lot more potency.
Yep. A couple of different arguments, I suppose, for it. Of course, Gale Force also has its own active damage. So when you're talking about taking more HP off of a target, if Harry can 4th shot that person, then, you know, realistic assassination for that, almost. As we saw it quite a few times yesterday. Just Gale Force amping the lethality rate. Then Voxney, this is weak side. Okay. Oh.
Beats the Deadly Flourish, eats the CC. That is one dead Den Voxney. Even commits the ultimate to try and see if he can find a kill onto DBL, but doesn't really have the damage.
Yeah.
He's not in position for that. His team were not ready.
Yeah, there's no jungle camps to cross map on the top side. Tyrex, now it's your turn to respect weak side. Let's see if you've got it in you, buddy. But yeah, I mean, Den Voxney just very clearly not a top laner, so he's not fully aware of... Alright, well, Tyrex...
That's a volley bait. He can turn that tower off any day of the week. He's going to slam down and the shockwave will pull him in. Two players in a row now, not respecting the
weak side
old weak side.
Yeah. And I mean, this should have been pretty telegraphed for Tyrex. There's no real need to give over 300 gold on top of the tower here. But dies to it nonetheless, even commits his flash, to which London actually committed no summoner spells. So an outright win for London Esports on that one, and have snuck a little over 3,000 gold ahead. It feels almost quietly just because of how back and forth some of the fights have been.
The lead is growing as 14 minutes on the clock, and one tower very close to going down as well in that bot side. Den been pretty resource intensive right now. Got a pretty significant CS lead over Harry, although Harry a lot more involved in the team play right now. 1-0-3. He can get involved in a lot of the action to help the team.
Yeah, definitely so. As the third dragon is spawning up in under a minute's time. See how teams prioritize their setup here. For the immediate future, London have what looks like mid lane and bottom side priority. Or at least in the vision, as MNM are actually going to try and sneak in here off the wave, but it's already gone. Tyrex has to catch this wave, so be very cautious about the approach. MNM do as, oh, Hex Flash potentially? Nope.
Just channel it in case. Just channel it in case. Does look like got a bit of a loop around coming in as the Void Seeker hits onto Regan. Jeppe looks for the hook, but Lantern will deny any potential CC, any potential grabs coming in. And MNM, maybe they just look to trade out the dragon for the Rift Herald if they want.
Yeah, that could be on the table for the... okay, the fight hunt's here. And look at Hepe, he's on the flank.
Yeah, he is coming in. Jeppe actually lands himself the hook, and Regan is annihilated. Knock up only onto one. Denvoxney untouched on the backline, and Beely able to flash away from Kazero. Now they've got themselves the Void Seeker onto DBL. Harry slices in forwards, able to find himself the kill, but he's taken out by PFI. Only 2 of MNM stand as they take out the mid laner for London.
Yeah, I really don't know about this fight here. Kazura was practically isolated on the backside, whilst the remainder of MNM were kind of just being dissected by London. Regan, caught out by the dredge line at the very start of the fight, tries to flash backwards towards the rest of his team. He gets blown up way too quickly, and then it just leaves them in a 4v5 situation where Kazuro's dived the backline, where it then leaves MNM effectively in a 3v4. You'll see Pepe slips into a pocket of no vision for MNM here. Unfortunately, Regan drops immediately, and you can see on the backside, Kazura is attempting to assassinate Beely, but too much shielding. Shockwave comes in for self-peel, and Harry, I mean, just goes all out to pick up the London mid laner here in a 1-for-1 as Regan again.
Oh, Regan, that is not where you want to be, mate. You are going down, and Denvoxney is going to cash in on the kill. Suddenly, Denvoxney, who hadn't really been involved in too much of the action, is now 2-1-3. We'll have the Gale Force on this base, and probably a fair chunk of that Collector as well. Not before collecting a little bit more farm in the mid lane.
Yeah, maybe some more CS here and there, even ping onto the red buff. Says, I don't care if you're an AD carry PFI, it's mine now. Well, Denvoxney is quite strong. We'll see actually who's going to take it. All right. Even the observers moved in to see. As a gold graph on our screens, you can see steadily been increasing for London over the last around, what, 8 or 9 minutes. MNM looking pretty disjointed in some of these skirmishes. Not some, realistically, pretty much all of them.
Really are.
Them in this deficit right now.
The gold lead just growing more and more. There's the Gale Force finished up for Denvoxney. Does get a pickaxe as well from that Collector, so
wow,
starting to hit real hard right now. And the
600 gold
wave.
away from it. Like, he's not far from completing his second item.
Is it 525 to complete it? I think it's 500.
My brain tells me it's 600 gold unless they changed the combined cost recently, which honestly they could have. I'm
not gonna lie.
So.
I've been playing a lot of Collector.
Oh, so you should know this. That's alright though, Jake. Maths is hard. I do understand.
I'm just looking it up.
Oh, you're looking it up. Oh, we might have a fight.
Yeah, we do. Once again, Regan on the receiving end of all of the love. Denvoxney, he's a lot closer to that Collector after cashing in on the kill. Harry gets stunned. Den's not going to pull the trigger. The charge lands in onto Merp, but Merp's out of there with the ulti. Knock up hits the red buff. Just a leash for PFI. Now both of them have a red buff.
Yeah, now both of them have a red buff.
425.
420.
Wow. Yeah.
Huh.
It's actually quite cheap. I think Denvoxney has enough gold now. He should have enough gold.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, Regan back to back being caught out here, just trying to secure vision in places which aren't really his territory to be in. London, PFI picking up all the local gold for that tower. I feel like Beely wanted some of it. That was 1 more millimeter to the downward angle. Harry's definitely in the death chamber.
Regan might be, the best rapper here in the UKLC, but he's also kind of rapping himself.
Oh, okay. He was thinking about that one, wasn't he?
I'm proud of myself for that one.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Yeah, MNM kind of, there's not really much for them to do on the map. They don't even necessarily outscale, and that's kind of the worrying thing for them here is when you're this far down in gold, it kind of becomes hard to fall back into old ways of just outright mechanics checking in team fight, even finding numbers advantage with double teleport plus a Kai'Sa who can technically sort of dash almost 3,000 ranges. It's pretty hard, so they're gonna kind of just have to sit here and see if London make an unforced error as Hepe in the wings. He's not gonna quite catch out Harry just yet.
He's looking for it.
He is looking for it.
Flash available to get over the wall. Harry's on a ward, remember, as Kazero gets chunked by PFI. Lantern will keep him nice and safe, but with this dragon spawning up fairly soon, MNM can't see diddly squat.
Oh,
now
no.
there's the shockwave onto 2. The Call of the Forge God is big, but it's not going to be big enough. As now Den slides into the backline. Gale forces to make some space. Scatter the Weak not even going to get used here as the Lantern comes in. DBL going pretty low, but he's able to walk away as a hook lands onto Oriana.
Oh, Beely.
Locked underneath, but a great stopwatch will keep Beely alive. There is a Rift Herald that's been summoned, and now Merp, he is just looking for Tyrus. He's looking for DBL. The charge comes in and the turret goes down as the curtain call isn't going to do anything here. And London might be able to get a second charge out here.
Yeah, they might be able to get a second charge out here.
Tyrus has to be so careful.
Yeah.
Scatter the Weak down. There's the second charge.
Yeah, there was no one able to get in position to smack the eye before the charge completed. And I really like this from London. If they try and set up a death brush here, because if we can get a quick toggle on the MNM vision here, there is practically nothing going on for them. Yeah, let's just give this one up. If we're
Things are just flying out of the fog of war, and they don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, it's not great. And they have to walk through multiple chokes of an Oriana. It's just not an ideal situation to be in. They have managed to push themselves up quite far, but I don't know if they're going to make it into the pit to get the dragon.
Not even quite. Merp's on the flank. Doesn't actually have the Stormbringer, so probably should be careful. Harry gets himself hit by the Void Seeker. Den didn't have the Killer Instinct, though, so Harry was safe.
Yeah. I feel like if Den Voxney had it, he would have...
I feel like if he had it, he would have done that. He has Gale Force.
Yeah, he's got the Collector, too. It's definitely within
feeling
reason that
really
he can 100
right
to 0
now.
him. Yeah. Certainly so, and I mean, with that dragon, London are one away from Soul. And MNM realistically don't have much an answer to not only Soul, but the game state right now, it seems like. They definitely can't match on side lanes, and they've been losing out on the ARAM war, so...
And this kind of comes off the back of, yeah, there was a gold lead when they took it, and, you know, they were scared of giving up that dragon, but that second dragon, they could have just traded for Rift Herald. And they could have used that to maybe crack some turrets, get some locked gold back in their pockets. And at that point, the gold lead was only like 3,000, I believe.
Yeah,
so it wasn't that bad. But now we're looking at an 8,000 gold lead because they contested, they lost that fight, they lost the Rift Herald, and now they've lost a bunch of towers and a bunch of kills. But they're in a really rough position. Jefe finds that Kazero, will lock him down as Kazero actually goes for the charge onto him. Jefe has got the Oriana ball. And a bit of miscommunication there, I think.
I mean, Shockwave would have realistically have bought time. Whilst Beely has... Oh, he's actually only got the Leandries and Darksteel with 6 stacks. Yeah. Those item components, he definitely wouldn't have one-shot anyone. It's been a time buyer. So Hepe blowing the flash. It looks funny, but it's not really anything that will... or should result in anything.
It was a party sombrero
Yeah.
for his escape.
Yeah, See, Murph and Den kind of on a bit of a weak side mission there, but doesn't seem like they'll be punished for it.
I don't know if Kazira can punish Denvoxy right now. He's got the Zeal. I think he's got the Supercharge evolved now.
Yeah, he probably does.
I think the Zeal is enough with this build.
This could be good. Could be something here.
Can he get the Land's Respite off in time? Yes, he can.
Play out.
Lantern the Flay. He's actually outside. Has to jump back into safety because Zero's looking for him. Charges in the shield to run. Purify's still alive. He smites the Baron to heal, and he's going pretty low to it. He's just about able to survive Purify. Little bit of an interesting one there. They do get a kill on to MNM as well, but not sure about that smite for health, if I'm going to be honest.
That's fine. He's smited the chickens now, so he's getting a little bit of food in him as all. Dredgeline.
The Forge God.
Fight.
Merp jumps in onto Harry, gets himself knocked up. The Sky Splitter's used.
Oh.
Harry slides in. Harry has to run away. They get the lock up on to Denvoxy for a fair amount of time. The box has been used and nobody's going to move through that. So London trading out a little bit there, but now that's the flash down on Harry.
Yeah, and that's a very, very big deal for Harry. It means he practically can't really approach many of these team fights until he realistically hits free item.
Oh, my God.
Oh my goodness, this
Just based under your tower.
This is both greedy basing spots from London, but also at the same time, you kind of have to feel for MNM with the position they're in. They pick up either of those picks. A lot of shutdowns, a lot of gold could have come back into their pockets, but
Den didn't have R. Den didn't have R. I don't know why. Merp is... He's got Chem Tank. He's got the Oriana to speed him up. He's going to get flayed, though.
Yeah, and London, just like that, have retaken control of the map. Because MNM, everyone's just shoved right back into their base. Minimal vision across the map for MNM to really work with. You see the remnants of what vision did remain being cleared away. Nothing but ruins in the MNM jungle on the bottom side towards this dragon, and okay, knowing MNM, they're gonna contest this dragon to not let the soul go over. And whilst I understand it, at the same
I feel like this is the one that you do want to contest, but they just didn't need to contest the last two. This might have been a much easier contest.
If they'd put themselves in a position where they were trading gold out for the last two dragons, then yeah, sure, they could maybe contested this one. But now at this point, it just feels like a fool's game almost. If you were to try and approach this, if I'm MNM, I just try and go and flip the Baron. I feel like it's the best call. But London looking for something potentially. Pepe playing with X-Flash quite a bit.
PFI also baiting, pretending to not realize he was in the bush.
Who's gonna strike first, Hipray?
I feel like it's gonna be MNM who are gonna strike, but I don't know how effective that strike is gonna be. Kazero's going to walk into the ball, get hooked. Call of the Forge Gods throwing down Merps onto that flank for the moment. The Void Seeker's been used in London. They're more interested in finishing the Dragon first, so they are going to sacrifice their support. The Fear comes in, but Kazero not going to be able to get the knock to follow. The 4-man Shockwave comes in as well from Beely, who's now running away, but then Voxley just slides and repositions onto the backline. Lamb's Respite will keep MNM alive for the moment, but it's a double kill for Den Voxley. It's Regan going very, very low. Make that a triple kill for Den, but he is not done. He is looking for the quadra kill, looking for DBL. This DBL is just running to the win. Den is going to give it up, and it is the siege in the mid lane here for London.
Yeah, and honestly, loads of questions from the MNM perspective, but London doing exactly what they have to do here. They just set Den Voxley and PFI on that Ocean Dragon. They pick up the soul. The remainder of London basically playing bodyguard to MNM, trying to make an entrance into the river, but it's just not enough. Such a large gold lead means that 3 members are enough to play bodyguard. It's just another botch fight from MNM. At this point, being 10,000 gold down, it's not like you can really blame them at this point. As Baron gonna just be melted, really.
Oh, it's gonna be melted. It goes down, and London now gonna probably look to back, just spend that gold, as we can have a little look at that fight once again.
Yeah, so Kazuro, it's not the first time. He's kind of just walked in haphazardly, eats up all of the CC, and once then Voxnay comes out of the pit, just watch what he actually does. He just immediately onslaughts or shadows him. And DBL misses out on the knockup, so they don't perfectly CC him. But even if they did, I just don't believe they have the damage in them between the Hecarim and the Ornn to actually take him down. The Lamb's Respite is kind of buying time for MNM, but at the same time, it's really just mounting dread, waiting for them to just be taken down by then Voxnay triple kill at the back of the fight. And I mean, if that Blast Cone wasn't there, I feel like that would have been a quadra kill for the London AD carry as Goldgraph. See.
There's a glimmer of hope on that gold graph, and then pink.
Yeah.
Or red in this case. Almost full build on Den Voxley. Got the Lord Doms. There is a Typhoon now finished up for Harry.
Hey, they're vibing in the river. Like that. Sorry, I just... nice little party going on there.
You are right, having a party.
Yeah, one team's going to be feeling much more in the mood for a party after tonight than the other. Most likely. As MNM is being strangled out of their jungle. IM differential, as you were rightfully pointing out, is absolutely massive.
I didn't even actually look at the item differential between Harry and Den Voxley.
Yeah, it's pretty much an IM and a half.
It is pain.
Yeah, it is pain. Mid lane, 1 IM difference. Jungle, PFI is only up the BF sword. But, okay, MNM want to pull the trigger.
They've got the Forge God, they've got everything. They're looking for PFI. He's CC. Can he get the Lamb's Respite off? No, he cannot. But Den Voxley, untouched for the moment. The box is going to slow everyone down, but Merp just slams into the backline as Jeppe gets a kill onto DBL. Now it's Regan, next up on the menu, as a big scattered lead comes forward. But now Harry's being chased for the moment. Den Voxley able to cash in on yet another kill. And this is only one for MNM standing. Beely makes sure that Merp can catch onto Harry. Harry, you are going down, my friend, today.
Oh,
the shockwave doesn't even clip. Sad Bs go up. The ace comes down. the inhibitors crumble, and with Baron, London will continue to find wins on the teams below them. And MNM continue their streak of losses as of late.
Continue the free fall. And much like last split, actually faltering in the back half of their season in the regular split. Have to hope for them they can try and find the 2-0 next week, because if they don't, honestly, playoffs I think is just out of reach most likely. I don't think 5 wins is going to be enough to pull you into that playoff bye. And London, another really dominating win. Realistically, played out the game pretty clean there, and I have to commend them for it. It looks like they are going to be, in most worlds, our second place team. I think there are still some maths out there potentially. Actually, no, I think that should just be them in second place at 8 wins, because everyone else is at 5. No, everyone still has 3 games to play. Everyone still has 3 games to play. So maybe someone could force a tiebreaker, maybe. Assuming London goes 0-2 next week.
Yeah, but so London are 1 win away from securing second. And everyone else is just kind of playing catch up at this point. Honestly, really, really good game there from London. MNM need to find their form, because that is a loss they can't afford. Now, luckily for them, one of the teams that is currently 5 and 6 in the standings well, 2 of the teams that are 5 6 in the standings are playing each other. So someone else who they're tied with will end today and end this week tied with them. So it's not like they're going to fall behind the rest of that teams, but there's going to be a defined third team as of today, unless actually no, there won't be. No, sorry, I'm talking about them. Honestly, these are still up in the air, but for MNM, they need to catch up because they are falling behind. Anyway, it's time for us to take a quick break, I think. So we're gonna throw to that, and then we're back. We'll have an interview with Dim Voxney. See you in a second.
Land of which we claimed, wash it from our hands. Don't flinch, or move them all. It's safer for the houses are proud. We'll live near the forest. Say all your prayers. Ears to the ground. We can't look back. Oh, oh, breaking your backs and falling on the stone. Oh, oh, out on my own.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC, coming fresh off a win from London, who beat out MNM. MNM currently on a bit of a losing spree. Now, I didn't hear from my producer, so I'm going to break the first wall. Max, are we doing the interview next? Yes. Hey, let's bring Dan Boxley in for an interview. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
I'm an honestly dominating Kaiser performance, so, you know, continuing like your win streak, you're one win away from securing second in your group in the group as well. So, you know, honestly, good stuff there for you. How's kind of the general vibe within the team right now?
Well, it's obviously positive. Like we're all like satisfied, or like, you know, decently satisfied with the way things are going right now. Since, you know, we could have been first, but I guess it's fine. We have second right now, and we're winning a lot of games. We're learning a lot, so it feels great to play with the team.
That's good to hear. And I mean, when you came in just before we went on there, you said, "Aren't the standings crazy?" And I think the last time we had you on an interview, we asked you for who you felt like was going to finish in the top half. And now that we have the standings the way they are, you guys likely to. I don't want to say you've probably secured playoffs. Second place looking very likely, but not quite yet, you know, locked in. Who do you feel like is going to join you in those last two playoff spots? Kind of looking at everyone's form, you know, who people have left to play and whatnot, because it's honestly, I feel like it's on everyone's minds now.
It's hard, but like obviously Resolve is locked in.
Yeah.
I obviously think we're gonna make it, and then we have two left. And honestly, MNM, they've fallen off a cliff. Like, I don't know what happened. Something happened. Yeah, it's not good for them. But like, I think Barrage have surprised me. Like, we won both games we played against them, but they played significantly better the second time, I feel like. And like, they've also played quite well. So I think actually they'll make it, considering the standings as well. And then Enclave, like out of nowhere, got their stuff together, and you know, I don't know, suddenly they play pretty well as well. So I think those two, but I think MNM can make it, and I think Vision are maybe a little bit out of it as of right now. So.
Fair enough. Fair to actually get that insight from you, because you are right. Like it has gone a little crazy, but I mean, there's one team who have already secured playoffs, and I think that's the elephant in the room for you guys right now, Resolve. Now, if we just got standings alone, it's you and Resolve as the top two. Realistically, that's kind of where I'm expecting to see our finals go to. How do you feel like you guys are going to match up to them now versus, you know, when we've previously seen you play against them?
So we got smashed, smashed. It wasn't that close. 2 days ago here when we played, and well, that happens. I think we learned a lot, and I don't think we went into the game with like we need to win this game. We went into the game that we want to see what we can do, and we want to see what they can do. So it wasn't like after some stuff happened, we tried a little bit of draft. We wanted to see, maybe like poke the bear a little bit, and I feel like we got a decent result out of that. So I'm happy with that. And we'll come back stronger next time. Like, this wasn't like peak London. It's not our peak performance against Resolve, and hopefully we'll meet them again in playoffs sometime, so we can.
It was a scouting mission.
Show them. Yeah, it kind of
figuring
is.
them out.
Kind of was.
Congratulations on your win, Demoxney. 1-1 away from securing second as well. So good luck with that, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you again soon. So speak to you later, all right?
Yeah, see ya.
Awesome. So Jamada, right, let's get you to talk through your favorite play from that game then.
Yeah, so we have the third dragon fight / mid lane fight, because they didn't even really make it much into the river. And as you can see, London pretty much have full control of this area. I'm just going to make sure I have the right lineup. And you can kind of see just from here all the way down, MNM don't have any vision or any valuable vision at all, because yes, whilst they do have the tri-bush vision down here, this isn't really doing anything for them. So London in a pretty positive position right now, and I'll just get the clip going. And we're just going to see MNM make a relatively slow approach. They're being kind of cautious, but then it's just a really good flank from Hepe. He finds out Regan. Regan flashes over the wall but dies. And then take a look at the backside here. Kazuro is by himself on top of Beely, trying to solo kill him, whilst the rest of his team is basically all over the place. And it's just a relatively disjointed fight where, with Regan already gone, they can't really play any kind of, value. They can't really play in any cohesive manner to make a team fight work. And it kind of makes me scratch my head on the Hecarim pick in a way, because they've kind of drafted Hecarim who wants to dive forward, and the rest of the team kind of wants to stay back. So it just kind of screams, don't know what's going on here, and it's part of the reason, I suppose, why I also called for the GP pick at the end of the draft for them, because I felt like even if they have the Hecarim, as long as they have another sort of means of champion that wants to sort of sit back and that can dish out reasonable damage, even if they have the Hecarim there to dive forward, they could at least drop the cannon barrage on top of that target for support for Kazura. But they didn't really have that. They only had the Call of the Forge God, and we didn't really see many high impact ornaments this game, unfortunately, for the BL. And just in that situation in general, away from the draft, MNM probably should have just gone to the top Herald. They had full, just a clean path into the Herald. All of them are in the bottom side river.
Well, coming up after the break, we're going to have ourselves Resolve versus Envision. So you got yourself 3.5 minutes to go have a wee. Treat yourself, have a sit down wee. And while you're at it, #UKLC, give us a tweet and let us know what you're thinking about. See you after the break.